are you joking? You know, so I won't wear just the t-shirt. I layer the t-shirt and wear a very proper pencil skirt. I'm sitting down, and that's why it's reading up. I get up, it's all the way to I wear it up to my knee because anyway I can't wear a short. My legs won't look good in it. You know, so people must get a grip about this. We put undue pressure on women in particular. I know that there's a lot of education that needs to be done because people also don't know how to dress. You understand, particularly younger people, they don't know what is appropriate for wear. You know, some of the things I wear to an event, a lot of people were complaining. They will see me at an event. It's a glamorous event. What do you want me to wear? Hijab? If I was a Muslim woman, I would wear hijab. I have friends who wear hijab. We have the similar mindsets. So those are some of the challenges that we have sometimes with our society. And it's all pretension. I'm not pretentious about anything. I show you whom I am. You either bite or you don't bite. And let me tell you this, people eventually cotton on to who you are.
Yeah, eventually.
But if you force yourself into a mold because this group of people want you to be that way, when those groups leave, you are going to encounter resistance from another group. And you know, through all this process, you will be miserable. And life is too short to be miserable. They complain about breasts, for example. If God wanted the breast never to be seen, he would have tucked it away somewhere nice and quiet. God put breast on women's chests because even when you are dressed, you will always see that imprint.
Yes. Even when you are covered.
Even when you are covered, you will see the imprint. I remember that people used to fight with me that they would say they can see the imprint of your breast, and I'm like,
It was not meant to be seen.
If God did not want it to be seen, he would have tucked it away. And some have it bigger than others. For the poor girls who have it bigger, what do you want them? That's why you see some girls who are big-chested, they start going like this because, you know, they're conscious of it, they're insecure about it, they're worried about it. And if you don't have, they will abuse you. You know, so what do they want us to do? You know, so for me, those things are not important. I'm also glad that you use, because a lot of the terms we use are things learned from the Western part of the world, where they like to be very literal and very linear about things. And in the context of our environment, it's not really true that women become single mothers sometimes because they lose their partners, the partners died, or something happens. You know, so this sometimes glamorous image of the so-called single woman is not so. I did not plan to be a single mother. I actually did not plan to be a mother. I did not want to have children. I love children. Okay. I have 98 children on the scholarship. But 19? I did not, 98.
98?
Yeah. But I did not want to have children. I thought that my life was always going to be, you know, lived hard. And I didn't want to burden another person. I didn't want to put that burden upon them. So I didn't want to have children. I think that, once again, something takes, because I imagine now that if I didn't have her, what would my life be? But if I had thought about it, I would never. You know, also, I prefer, and this is personal to me, I like the idea of children in a home with both parents. Okay. You know, I like that idea. You know, I prefer it. You know, so, because I also wasn't great on marriage. You know, just like I didn't want to have children, I particularly wasn't, you know, I wanted, I mean, I don't want to confuse it. I like any woman, I would love companionship. And if I found the right companion, we may decide to get married. But you know, in the context of our environment, marriage is often misunderstood, and people are put under too much pressure. A, to get married. 2, to stay married. And to have kids. And within that marriage, there are often too many forces pulling apart the marriage. I mean, it's easier to be married outside of Nigeria, let me tell you that, than to be married within Nigeria, as Nigerians living outside. Because I've seen many come back, and you would actually see those forces coming at them. And if they are not conscious, I mean, I'm a much older woman now. I think that I can handle it now. You know, that kind of thing. And also, I know what to look for well ahead of time. I can only direct her. I can only direct her. You know, I'm hoping one of the things I'm working on as a mother, and if you hear me talk with her, she talks like an adult person. We have adult conversations, is to teach her to make better value judgments in every situation. You know, you practice with little things until you get to larger things. I'm hoping that she'll make the best decisions. My job as her mother is to be there for her, even when she makes mistakes. It's not for her not to make mistakes. There are no human beings who don't make mistakes. You set people up for failure if you expect that they will never make mistakes. I don't want my daughter to be too afraid to tell me if she's made a mistake. My job is to be there for her. I will provide counseling, I'll provide support, but she can be anything, because I know that you can make a profession of anything if that's what you were wired to do, if you are passionate, and if you have the work ethics. And I'm teaching her the work ethics from now. You have to work. Nothing comes easy. Oh, my mother died. You know, she died. I've spoken about it. She's missing. She's always been missing.
She's always been missing.
She was never found.
What happened?
She just left home and she never came back. You know, I mean, recently we had a remembrance service for my mom, General Karima, because I remember that interview because it was a sparring match. It was not an interview. In fact, you know, the thing with NTA is that because sometimes they don't want some things that are too political, we have to edit a lot of, the best stuff has to be edited out. We almost came to blows in the studio with General Adisa. He gave as good as he got. I will give that to him. And he said some things that were very profound. When we accused him and his Supreme Military Council of ruining our lives and ruining the country, he said, we didn't do it by ourselves. We did it with you people, the likes of you. That how do I know to do bank this thing? Is it not the bankers? How do I know? Is it not the lawyers? And that is so profound. He spoke about how all of us are complicit, particularly the Nigerian elite, the intellectual elite, the economic elite is complicit in this situation. And that's what he was talking about. He said he's not denying it, that yes, it happened. Yes, he can say sorry. Even when we're saying that, but why were you crying as a general? You know, when Abacha, he said, you too, you will not cry? We couldn't put all that on television, you know. And after that interview, he and I and all the girls on the show became friendly. We used to talk to him, and I remember I was in London. I was going to London when he told me, he called me, you know, out of the blue, he just called me. Sisi Funmi, what are you doing now? I'm like, I'm on my way to London working. All of them laugh at me. All these big men, if you talk with them, the one thing they all say about me, that's workaholic woman. We are working again. And so she said, oh, you're going to work. I said, yes, I'm going to work. And he said he was traveling for something. I can't remember. And then I read in the papers that he was dead. And you see, General Adisa died on the roads that General Adisa did not fix. We spoke about it. General Adisa died on the roads that he did not fix. I don't care what the excuse is. Once you have that road, you must do it. And it's not just General Adisa. Every day somebody dies because of the negligence of someone who has a responsibility. I was 23. I was a late starter. You know, sometimes when I read all these things about me in the papers, I'm like, who are they talking? Okay. You know, so I did not. I went to an all-female, not boarding school. I went to an all-female day secondary school and primary school. So I didn't have much interaction with that. I was also shy in the presence. That's why I was shy in the presence of men. And I also didn't have a lot of confidence about myself. I remember the first guy who spoke to me, I was convinced he was making fun of me. When he said I was fine, I was like, who is this person talking about? You know, and I proceeded to abuse the living daylight out of himself and his family. You know, so I did not, I was a late starter. When I got into the university, I remember consciously actually thinking, man, you're not bad though. You know, because my first year I was just carrying on. You know, I had a person that was interested in me.
Your first year
in the university.
There's always what they call chamber. So many
guys
come.
I was unfortunately in this room of 12 older girls in Queen's Hall who were keeping an eye on everybody, and they knew all the boys. So when somebody comes and is talking, you know, is toasting you, Lara would just come and say, "Shuri, where they?" You know, and just finish the boy there and then. So you just never really got into, but you know, that sense of freedom is amazing. And then the parties you get to go to. But I've always been kind of like dry. I was not a happening girl. I was always just interested either in my books or my friends. Even I was not a happening girl in UI. And people will tell you about secondary school, what they used to say about that tall, thin girl who used to carry books up and down. I was never happening. I've always been sort of like a small, loving group person. My best friend in the University of Ibadan, Yewande Bukoy, is my friend till tomorrow. She lives in Manchester. You know, she's like 5'2". And when we see each other like this, pidgin is straightforward because she went to FGC Benin and she grew up in the university. You know, her parents were academics. Just start speaking pidgin here and there. Till tomorrow, you know, and Bola Tony Bonje, who is in Chicago, we're still friends. You know, I operate best in small, intimate, loving circles. I'm not one to do. I go out and do the work thing. I say hi, kiss, and I go home. But my friends are very small and they're not in that world.